All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome to Moonlight. For those who don't know me, I'm Josh, and I help Oliver run Moonlight. So if you haven't been here before, what we're all about is embracing student side projects, whether that be a business, a game, a tool, whatever it is. We help embrace that and bring it out into the community.
Hey everyone,
So Moonlight is divided up into two parts. We have the first part where it's just an open mic. Anyone that wants to talk about their idea has 5 minutes. They can come up, talk about it, get some feedback, and learn from their peers. The second part is a demo. And tonight's demo is really cool. It's the 42 sign and the API to light it up. And so we'll see that, and they've been working really hard on that. So let's just get started does anyone want to talk about their side project? Something they want to work on, whatever they're passionate about, if you're thinking about something, whatever it is. Anyone? Awesome. Sean. I'll hold my hands up with like the time left.
Hello, I'm Sean. I've been working on some neural networking using the Keras library on the TensorFlow backend, and I've been running it on a Gentoo build out in the dorms. And you can access it using an SSH terminal or X2Go, frankly, but anybody who'd like to tamper around with that is welcome to be added to the Computer Musings channel on Slack. It's just basic Keras examples. I modified some to take in my own files and produce chapters of books that haven't quite been written yet in a language that only, frankly, the computer knows so far, but it's fun. It's fun. Eventually, I want to be creating music with Magenta, which is also compiled on that, so if you guys want to mess around with TensorFlow in general, let me know. It's also compiled with the C libraries as well, so if you want to do C, Python, it's all there. But yeah, Computer Musings, woo! Let me know if you want to join. Questions?
Awesome. Anyone else have a side project they want to talk to or talk about?
Let me know if you want to join.
Talk to the side project. All right. Anyone else? Awesome. All right. Well, we can get started with the demo then. Just give us 1 second. We'll get set up and get it going. Anyone else have a side project they want to talk to or talk about? Do you want to talk? Awesome. All right. We have one more person that will talk about their side project. So welcome to Mason. One person.
I'm so sorry I'm late. I want to just talk about serialize.me. It's my blog. It covers breakfast and cereal. I'm thinking about adding a section for the weekend on there. Once I catch up, the C++ scene is taking a little bit of my time there. But reviewing cereal on the weekends. During the week, it's just what I had for breakfast that morning. I first talk about how delicious breakfast was. I try not to talk bad about breakfast. Nobody needs that in the morning. And then I think about what I was thinking about, and then I write about it. It's really nice. I also feature a picture, so to get you appetized for the day or your own breakfast, and then a few questions to start the day with. So the thing that I'm thinking about adding is cereal review, so I thought I would just review Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats because they're one of my favorite. Again, I don't want to be negative about any of my cereal that I will be reviewing, so if you're looking for a strong, harsh critique, I just don't think I can provide that. But Frosted Mini Wheats are amazing. I don't know if you've ever had just regular non-Mini Wheats, but wow, they're too much. The fact that they made them smaller to actually fit in your mouth is really nice. I hear now they make mini Wheats, which might be taking it too far, but might be just right. I might review them at another time. My favorite quality that Mini Wheats have is if you get them just perfectly milked, they have that like crunchiness, but also like milk pocketness to them. Anyway, you can find more material like this on my website, serialize.me. Thank you. Oh, any questions? Yeah. A more critical review of the cereal. What was brought to the table there was that I am not bringing all of the information about how I take my cereal to the table, such as my milk choice, how long I'm letting it sit, probably even the bowl preference and spoon I'm using. I don't know if you've ever eaten with one of those spoons you get at like the Asian market, like the ones that are made for soup. Perfect for cereal. But that's a good point, and I should go into explicit detail about how I'm enjoying every bite. Anybody else? All right. Well, I hope you follow along. It should be every weekday before 10 o'clock. You'll have a post, and on weekends, hopefully coming soon, cereal review. Yeah, just go to serialize.me.
Awesome. Thank you, Mason. All right, before we get started in the demo, no more side projects? Awesome. All right, as I set up, for those of you that are watching on the live stream or don't know, Hardware Club has been working really, really hard, working on a sign as you come up the staircase. We'll see that at the end of the presentation, but they worked really hard to 3D print a sign and develop an API to help light it up and animate it. So let's go ahead and get started on the demo.
What's wrong? Oh, I'm really sorry about that.
Imagine a world full of darkness, a world where there were no 3D printed LED backlit letters, a world where there was no TTY. We set out on a mission, no, a crusade, to prevent that from happening. For 3 weeks, we toiled and slaved away to give you Stairway to 42. We'd like to thank a few people before we get started. We'd like to thank 42, of course, for getting us started with this. They provided the funds and a little bit of coaching necessary for us to get to the point we're at today. I thank Hardware Club for providing the room and all the tools and all the expertise that we needed to get those lights looking as fancy as they are up there right now. And I'd also, one more plug, I'd like to thank my team. They worked their butt off, and they deserve everything the world gives them and more. All right, so let's get started here. Enough TTY. I know you guys really like him. Can someone come do this for me while I talk? Just click the first steps. So this idea got started in our dorm with like a few people on a whiteboard, and we were just drawing around. And eventually we got a nice render of our first image of our. Austin Daly was kind enough to draw that for us. You can click on it and it zoom in. That is literally what we started with, and I think the end result was pretty close to that actually. Originally we had it going up the stairs, but we decided that would look weird, and then we had it, there was all sorts of design, the design process was all over the place, and we finally settled on one design. And then you can zoom out and go to the next one. Just zoom out. Just zoom out. Or just hit this button right there. There you go. This is midway through the project, as we had already 3D printed the letters. All of our 3D designs and 3D prints came from that man on the end over there, Dowie/Arlette/Wyatt. This is like right before we had put them on the wall, and we had measured out all the LEDs that needed to go inside them, and we were figuring out our DuPont connectors, which Salim will tell you more about later. And so that process took about 3 total weeks from start to finish, and then if you show them the last picture, I'll tell you about what the end result looked like. So we were pretty close to our initial picture there. Our budget was $250, and we exceeded that by about $50. So the BoCal supplied us with the funds, and then we on top gave some of our own funds to this project as well. The pitch process was kind of cool. I kind of came to Mason M. Young, if you don't know him by his real name, his Slack name is M. Young. He came up here and talked about cereal for a little bit. we came into the game kind of late, and I think that kind of annoyed him, but it was okay because we fixed it. It's all good now because it's up there and it looks nice. But we came to him with a detailed materials list. We came to him with a plan, not so perfect plan, but still a plan. We pitched it to him. He then pitched it to I think Gaetan and Kwam, and then we talked to Jen, and then it went from there. That was kind of how the pitch process went. So, I mean, if you're interested in making more of these, that's kind of going to be the procedure that you're going to have to follow in order to get that stuff done. And then, so to start off our creation process, I'm going to pass it over to our Minister of Design over there, Dowie, and he's going to tell you a little bit about how he designed the 3D prints.
Making more of these, that's kind of going to be the. Hey, you guys, how are y'all doing? So yeah, letters were pretty simple. We just went with the basic font, the Futura. And then I guess like the only really work that went into the design of the 3D letters was the mounts that went with them. We wanted them to be created modular, so eventually the sign could be taken down. So yeah, the mounts in 3 parts. There's the portion that is attached to the wall with a an anchor and a screw. Then we have a portion that's glued onto the back of the letter that has a I guess rod coming out to attach to the portion that's in the wall. Yeah, and then you can have a little pin that goes through them to lock them in place. And yeah, so the mount, there's the mount. Oh yeah, and then the 42. So the 42 was just started off as a piece of wood, and we had it laser cut by good old Camille here. Then it was spray painted, sanded, and then glossed. And then mounts were attached to that. So it's pretty much the design process. We put carbon fiber vinyl over the letters afterwards, and then cut them out with that. So we have a carbon fiber finish on the face of them. So yeah, that's pretty much the design process for the 42 and letters. Carbon fiber vinyl over the letters afterwards, and then cut them out with that. So we have a carbon fiber finish.
I'll take over from here. So I was kind of in charge of making sure our hardware and our lights were all wired up correctly, and it's not exactly as easy as it sounds. Basically, we received a spool of LEDs. So that spool then had to be cut to size per letter, and then each side of those of that letter, so there's an in and an out. Each side of those letters had to have 4 wires soldered, crimped, and then connected to the corresponding letter. So it was basically a very, very tedious task in order to get each one of those letters properly wired up. And even when we did think they were wired up nicely, we would go hook it up, and next thing you know, one of the wires came off, and none of the letters would work all of a sudden. So it was a constant battle with the wiring. And but once we got all that squared away, we were able to make a custom board where we basically take an output signal from the Raspberry Pi, and then we're able to control each of the colors on the whole LED array. So that way we can easily control it from a web interface or through an API and things like that. So that's the Raspberry Pi setup we have in the closet right now. So it's live, and it's fully functioning right now. So I'll pass it off to Hanu, and he'll explain more about the web design and the webhooks and such.
Yeah, just to complete with the Pi. Yeah, so we started out with actually an LED RGB controller with a cool-ass remote where you could just click on red, green, blue, and patterns. But then we wanted to make it actually something related to coding where we had to build our own controller. So rather than just have an LED strip, even though there was a lot of work that went into the hardware, like Salim and Dowie, and we wanted to have some code, so we decided to do away with the controller and build our own controller. that went a step further, where when we realized we could actually program things onto the Pi, why not open it up for all the students? So then we decided to make an API where you can then latch onto the API, build your own applications, anything. Due to the lack of time and being busy with so many things at 42, we didn't have a test application, but one of the ideas we were exploring is, say, based on time of the day, you change the color. It's a simple app where it goes to the API, based on the time, the color, the shade changes. We can show the website. So yeah, it's as simple as sending it an RGB set of values where you can give it the red, green, blue, and get any color across the spectrum. Due to the nature of the LEDs, it's not very vivid, where it's clear on when you can have millions of colors. But for example, I don't know if you can see that now. Probably for the sake of the demo, we can then move to the lights. But if you, for example, you can click on, say, red, and then a solid color versus, I don't know, that should have been red, I can't see it. But yeah, and then you have, so those are the two primary effects, the solid and the strobe. You can have a strobe light effect, which is basically transitioning between off and on stage. And then we have other cool little things you can build on top of the API if you have presets you want to build, or if you have applications like, say you hit level 7, you want the lights to show it, have it strobe red, green, whatever color you want, make it flash your name or send Morse code, and you can just latch onto the API. If you see the URL, that's not visible. Basically, you need to feed it the red, green, blue values. It also takes in presets, like in this case, there's party, fade, step, solid, and strobe. Or you can change the transition time between the colors and make your own presets on how you may want to make the LEDs flash. The vision for this is not just the 42 Silicon Valley sign. Eventually, when this website is open, say you have lights in the server room, or lights across the lab, or lights at your desk, on your computer, anywhere, you basically use the API, make your application, and then make them change colors, transition effects, the timing. And so it is not just a stairway, it's a platform. I'm back to Joe.
Nice line. All right. So can you go back to so yeah, like Connie said, there's a lot of opportunity for students and other people to mess with this and go to student integration and make it their own. Like Connie said, if you level up, blink green, maybe when the Paciners come into a test, it's just like slowly pulsing red, like ominous, you know. There's all sorts of stuff that you could do with that. And we plan to open up students to that API pretty soon. Or is it already done? That's right. It's almost done. So that is, the URL is, it's for your ears only, probably later on. All right. So when we were looking these up, I checked to see who else was doing this, if there was anybody else doing this, and that really the only thing that's out there is just already programmed lights that are, and they charge by the centimeter of the light. So a lot of the people that are out there are charging around $3 per square centimeter for these things, like custom-made LED. 3D lights, and a lot of them, you know, granted some of them are like stainless steel, but the majority of them are plastic. So I think that we can easily compete with that if we ever wanted to take it to market or something like that. I'll get questions in a little bit. Other than that, our future plans for this is obviously our Mark 1. Like if we wanted to do a Mark 2 or something, our future plans would include sensors on the lights that sensed motion that might, you know, like trickle a wave effect up the stairs as you walked by it. You know, a more advanced LED light system that allowed us to do individual LEDs as opposed to the whole strip as one color. So really, we can take this to a whole nother level if we do. So, other than that, we'd like to thank Hardware Club, the BoCal for supporting us, 85C for the coffee that we got. We'd like to thank TTY, M Young for believing in us and making our PDF. And those are our those are our Slack names and usernames if you want to check us out. Other than that, that's it. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Sean?
You mentioned the $3 per centimeter. How many centimeters is your current stairwell platform?
You know, if you'd like to measure it, please go for it, man. I went down there with a tape measure earlier today, and I said nope. Camille? Oh, I'm sorry. The question that I just answered was how many centimeters was our sign, and what was the calculation between $3 a centimeter and for our sign? And I said, go ahead and measure it yourself. Go ahead, Camille.
As related to that, did you calculate
Cost of labor would be astronomical. I didn't want to put that one there because it was since a lot of us, a few of us actually, like half the group was new to electrical wiring and stuff like that. So when we originally put all the wires on there, and we had to actually go back and replace a lot of those wires because we messed a lot of them up. But luckily, we had this wonderful peer-to-peer learning environment that we could go to our peers and say, hey, please help us learn, and we're better wirers now for that. Yeah. Any other questions? Rock on. Do you want to do an outro, or you want to, what do you want to do? Okay.
Awesome. So let's thank the Hardware Club one more time. That was awesome. All right, well, everyone, thank you for coming out to Moonlight. We're going to do a quick pan for the live stream of the 42 sign, and after that, we're good to go. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.
Someone stand and hold the mic for him.
Can you do this? Okay, so yeah. Basically, we can go through any color, so say red and solid, one of the patterns, or you can pick a color and you can use the strobe effect. Say, let's do blue and strobe. And this is the party mode where all colors are flashing. Or you can do the fade, which is, yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, that's the fade with different colors, and the step is, yeah, it's just gonna step through colors. And you can basically have preset values you can build on top of that. That's about it. Thank you, guys.